Good morning and happy Tuesday. This was a much better one today. The good morning. We were in sync.
We did really good on that one.
It's Q&A day. I know that you guys love Q&As.
So do I.
So, yeah, we do too.
I think Q&A might, I don't know, it's hard to pick a favorite. Can't pick a favorite. It's not fair.
It's true. We love them all in a different way. Okay, let's say good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kayla and Bethany and Jeanette in the house, Josie, Tiffany, Maureen, Ivy, Michelle, Catherine, Candace, Nikaya, Brandy.
Michelle? Did you say
Kelly.
Michelle?
I think I did. Michelle, if I didn't say Michelle.
Kelly, good morning, you guys. So many of y'all have all these privacy settings.
It doesn't matter. Remain private.
That means that probably many of y'all used to date a crazy bitch before. Just kidding, but not really.
So what's the haps today?
The haps?
What's the haps?
What do you mean?
What is happening?
It's Q&A day.
It's Q&A day. I just want to have some kind of chit chat, but I don't really know what to chit chat about right now. So I think we should just get straight into some questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. All right. So first question is from Courtney Collins in New York.
Let's go.
And the first part of this question is very specific to something that she deals with in one of our workouts, but is wondering how to fix it. She's saying, I have the same inversion table as you ladies, and I want to start using it in hopes that it will help me with this. But this is upside down dizziness.
Oh, like
right, not the issue that you would think, because an inversion table is not normally for that. Answer to part one. How many times a day or week can I use this when starting out? And do I just try to do it like a minute at a time at first? Thank you, heart.
So she wants to use it to increase her tolerance for
Getting upside
dizzy
down,
when
I
she's
think.
upside down.
Yeah, I don't think...
Wow.
It's a good thought, because you're like, well, if I get dizzy upside down, then I better spend more time being upside down so my body can adapt.
Sure.
Right? So it might work.
Yeah.
I actually don't know, but getting dizzy is also an oxygen kind of thing. So are you breathing when you're upside down would be my question. Because she says wall walks and wall walks get me extremely dizzy, but handstand kick-ups and handstand shoulder taps don't seem to bother me as much.
I feel like it is definitely breathing.
Yeah.
So wall walks are more intensive too.
So when you're doing, if you've done any of our, I don't think it's not in the rise above, it's in the burn zone. If you're doing the burn zone and you've done the wall walks, depending also on which direction, no, there's only one way to do a wall walk. But yeah, I would say, are you breathing? Because if you get dizzy, that's more a lack of oxygen kind of thing to your brain, right?
Yeah.
So if you can be upside down and you're doing shoulder taps and you're fine, you're probably breathing. Same thing with the handstand kick-ups. You're also not upside down. You're not inverted as long when you do a kick-up. So you have time to breathe. And there's a rhythm to it. Wall walks, there's a rhythm to shoulder taps. There's not really a rhythm to wall walks. So there's no like simple breathing pattern that your body would do by default. By default, if you're tapping, like you have a rhythm and your body wants to breathe naturally. But when you're doing a wall walk, your brain is really in on it, and you're kind of, it would be easier to hold your breath.
It's an active movement. You're not holding. So, yeah, from the sounds of it, I believe that it's probably a breathing thing too. And it's really interesting how that happens with some movements. I think I told you that like 3 months ago, I figured out that like when I was doing toes to bar, I was like, I'm great at all gymnastics, but when it comes to toes to bar, my stamina is very low, which is unusual because my core strength is ridiculous. And one day I realized that when I do toes to bar, I don't breathe. So then I started breathing, and like I was able to like get like 3 to 4 more reps. So like whenever you guys do movements, like take a second to just like analyze your breath and ask yourself, like, am I breathing or not? Because if you're not breathing, then you're definitely like, I mean, you're leaving so much out on the table from a performance standpoint, but from a longevity standpoint, I mean, we don't want any of y'all getting dizzy doing a workout. That's not what it's about.
Right.
So catch your breath and, you know, like play the safe game. Like stop for a second if you have to, and then take a deep breath and then okay, go.
It's the same with stretching too. Like if you don't, every time you exhale, you're sending oxygen to your muscles and to your tissues, and you're helping them regenerate.
You
so
mean
they can
inhale? Exhale is release.
When you exhale, though, the oxygen goes through your body. You're exhaling the carbon dioxide, no?
Yeah, when you inhale, oxygen goes to your body.
When you inhale, you absorb it.
Uh-huh.
When you exhale, the oxygen goes through your body, carbon dioxide goes out.
Well, sure.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Breathe, that's the point. On purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, so question number 2 is from Janique
in Canada.
Wow. What can help curb craving sweets besides eating more protein? Any quick tricks to help curb wanting sweets?
That is such a good
That's
question.
a great question.
Well, for one,
Who's stoked about that question? Put a star emoji.
what is your favorite sweet?
Your
I want to
favorite
know.
sweet treat.
What is your favorite sweet? Ronnie Silva is in the house. Happy birthday, girlfriend.
Happy birthday!
Talking about sweets. I hope you enjoyed that chocolate cake today.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Veronica. Happy birthday to you. Ice cream. Yeah, Tiffany, you and
But
me,
what
girl.
kind of ice cream?
Doesn't even matter. She said ice cream. She would have been specific.
Chocolate.
And we got team chocolate and team ice cream. What about chocolate ice cream?
But does it have chocolate
But does it have
on top?
But does it have peanut butter cups in it?
I love it.
Ice cream. Yeah, Kirsty, we're gonna have an ice cream party. Chocolate, ice cream, and cake. Mel, star emoji.
What does that mean?
I said post a star emoji, and she literally typed out star emoji. That's funny. You're amazing.
So
Oh my gosh. Veronica, we hope that this is the best year yet.
100%.
Okie dokie. So let's answer this question: how to curb the sweet?
Well,
Cravings.
for one, I want to point out something about Janique. Janique, it sounds as if you're very self-aware, which I absolutely love, because something that you said is, what can help curb craving sweets besides eating more protein? Now, the reason why I'm assuming that you have great self-awareness is because, like, theoretically speaking, I know for myself and for you too, but again, this is from my own personal experience, eating more protein is not going to curb my desire for sweets when I want sweets. I will just eat more protein, I will get more full, but I will still want sweets.
Yeah, it's not a physical hunger thing. It's a mental thing.
Like if I eat more steak, it's not gonna make me like have less of a craving when I do. Though the more advanced you get in this journey, like the less and less you have cravings. But you know, the first approach that I would give anyone is choose the better than method. Right? So go for something sweet. When you want something sweet, like you want something sweet, right? Like eating steak or chicken is not gonna help you have less of it. It will just fill you up more, right? And maybe by distracting you, it could make you not crave it as much. But that's different for every single person, right? I remember when I used to struggle, like ain't nothing came my way when I wanted chocolate. Shit, even if I ate like a pot of rice, I would still finish that entire tub of frosting. So it's different for every person, but the first tip that I would give anybody is go for a better than option, right? So whatever you said, like, let's say, Tiffany said that her thing is ice cream, right? I will tell you, Tiffany, like, okay, maybe we can do something that's sweet and frozen and better for you, like maybe like frozen blueberries, and like put some almond milk in it, and maybe you can turn it into like a healthy smoothie. Or
by the way, if you've tried ever putting frozen blueberries in almond milk, it's amazing because the milk like starts to freeze
with the X endurance protein. So good.
We used to make cereal-less bowls.
Yeah. So like go for a better than option based off of whatever it is that you like, right? That way you can kind of like curb that sweet tooth, but of course make sure that you're getting a better than kind. We are pretty fortunate in the sense that, being in the 21st century, yes, there are a lot pseudo health foods. Please, anybody who's listening to this, don't ever tell me that, protein ice cream is healthy, because it's not. However, it's a better than choice. Like if you have ice cream cravings on a very regular basis, then of course you're gonna need to work on strategies to help limit those cravings. Otherwise, you're always gonna be like having extra unnecessary calories in your body.
Yeah.
However, brands like Halo Top, for example, right, make a better than ice cream. So, you're basically getting more protein, less sugar overall. So like, let's say if you want ice cream and it's late at night, I would much rather each and every one of y'all have Halo Top instead of Ben & Jerry's from a, hormonal standpoint and the response that your body will have to it. However, know that because it's a better than doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. And I think that is a very big disconnect that society has. That just because it's a better than option doesn't mean you get to treat it like, you can have as much as you want whenever you want, like it's freaking water or vegetables, because it's not.
There's healthy physically, and there's healthy mentally, and there's healthy intention. And so what you have to ask yourself is your intention healthy?
Yeah.
Right? So when Sarit's saying choose a better than option, but then saying brands like protein ice cream brands like Halo Top are not necessarily healthy, is your intention healthy? Right? Because you can go and you can eat. We went through a phase when Halo Top came out. We went through a phase we were like, oh, it's better than, and kind of treated it, not necessarily like a free-for-all, but it was definitely a more often than we would have had a regular ice cream because it was a protein ice cream. So we phased out of that, but we went through that phase where the intention still wasn't healthy because we would still want to eat 2 tubs of it. Oh, because it's healthier means I get to eat more? No. You're fulfilling a craving you have, but you have to keep your intention healthy. So no matter what it is you're indulging in, whether it's full sugar, full fat, whatever, your best friend's wedding, whatever, and you're intentional about it, and you've done well throughout the week, and you feel like you've actually earned it, here's how you can tell. If you're going to indulge in something and feel bad about it, your intention is unhealthy.
Yeah.
If you're going to indulge in something and then feel all right about it and say, I earned that was good, I'm glad I did it, and now I'm over it, your intention was healthy. So I think that's always the way to go about it. So if you're choosing a better than kind of option, just because there is a better than doesn't mean you get to eat more of. So check your intention.
So in order for you to have like sustainable progress when it comes to this concept, you'll want to do 2 things, right? If you have cravings on a regular basis, then definitely choose a better than option so that in the moment you're able to regulate your hormones better, but also you need to work, mindset wise, right? On an approach that will increase your level of being intentional, because otherwise you'll be stuck, right? It's only a matter of time till you'll be stuck because you're still consuming more and more calories, right? So you want to do a better than for the right now, right? But you want to have a long-term plan so that you won't have cravings on a regular basis, okay? That's like your golden ticket to like really have a harmonized lifestyle and an intentional way of eating without sabotaging your goals. Like for example, for us nowadays, we won't do Halo Top ice cream because here's the thing, like if we want ice cream, we're gonna get the real deal because Halo Top, it's not the same, honestly, like it's not the same, right? But we're so much more intentional with the way that we live, right? Like if you're gonna have ice cream at 10 p.m., Halo Top would be better than Ben & Jerry's. But remember, you're still getting extra calories. There's still sugar in it, right? It's not as bad, but that's why you need to be intentional, because if you eat a Halo Top every single night, you're gonna look fluffy.
It's about fulfilling the craving now while working on your discipline for the future, right? So it's not a matter of just eat more. It's how can I build discipline and reduce the how can somebody, reduction of cravings, I think really just comes with first awareness, then second discipline, and discipline's not easy to practice.
And accountability is huge, right? Accountability always helps with the discipline arena.
Discipline is doing something that you don't want to do because you want the result. Right? That's discipline. And eventually discipline becomes a habit, so you don't have to fight yourself as hard on it. So to help with discipline, having accountability. Go ahead.
Yeah, because you don't want to let somebody else down, right? So it's kind of like a positive distraction. We're also used to letting ourselves down. It's like, oh, just one bite, right? But you're letting yourself down because you are disobeying your discipline and where it is that you want to go. So that's that.
Yeah. And if, cravings happen X number of times per week, then tell yourself, I'm going to allow myself a better than option this number of times per week, which should be less than the number of cravings you have, right? Start with having discipline with 1 or 2 times that you have a craving. If it happens multiple times per week, allow yourself a better than option for some of those times, but have discipline for some of those times. And then the next week, if you succeeded, do it again.
Yeah. If you didn't, repeat.
Yeah. So
don't give up.
Hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Janique.
We have Melissa from Texas. I'm having to fight myself constantly. Ugh. For the number of times we've heard that. I realize I am my own worst enemy. Ugh, for the number of times we've heard that. I can make good decisions all day. But at night, I lose my will to be good and just want to eat everything. If we had even a penny for the number of times we've heard that, we would be the richest people on the face of the planet. Okay, but also we get it because we've been there. Okay, I'm going to read this fluidly. Okay, having to fight myself constantly, I realize I'm my own worst enemy. I can make good decisions all day, but at night I lose my will to be good and I just want to eat everything. I have the want to work out, but talk myself out of it, and then I hate myself for it. I know all the talking points and that I just don't have the accountability. Help.
Yep.
I think that...
inner circle.
I think that your last sentence nailed it. I need accountability. Help. That's it.
She needs to be in the inner circle. Look, I mean, just by reading this, I can tell so much about your journey already, okay? These are predictions from my professional experience. You're afraid of carbs, you're afraid of food, okay? You're good throughout the day because you limit the amount of food in which you eat, but then physiologically, your body's like, I need food. So because you have no control over food, you're a slave for food, you end up eating all, and then you end up eating more. So you
like a
end up-
bear.
So you end up sabotaging yourself each and every single night, and it's such a vicious cycle to be in.
Then, wait, if the cycle's not over, then you feel guilty for it. So then you feel like, wow, now I really need to work out. But you're extra motivated because I can start tomorrow. So you don't feel so bad because you told yourself, I can start tomorrow. That's fine. I'm going to be really good. And then the cycle repeats.
Yeah.
Right? You're good during the day. But look, there's this thing called willpower. And willpower, for one, if you don't feed yourself, you're making it more difficult on yourself. For two, willpower is fatigues. It has a shelf life each day.
Girl,
and it fatigues.
It sounds like you're lost. You've probably tried a lot of things that misled you, and it sounds like you're currently in a state where you're lost. And you're now at a point where you're just a slave to food, and it is a vicious cycle, and we need to break it. We know how to. We've done that. Inner circle peeps, if you think that you will be a good fit to the fam, drop a heart. But I mean, yeah, we can get you out of there 100%.
Can somebody tag her in this? Melissa Aris, Aris. If she's not watching, Melissa, if you're watching, hi.
Yeah.
But you know, for the inner circle peeps, who was that? Was that any of you guys? Does that explain any of you?
Yeah, Tiffany. Ask me how definitely Tiffany. Tiffany, sure.
It's
so many
like
of you guys.
85% of the inner circle, that describes.
Yeah.
That's that. You know, so this is one of those things where, you know, it goes back to sort of the last answer to the last question too, where it's like, you need discipline. You need discipline, but you need that discipline to become a habit. But because, like Sarit said, you feel a little bit lost, or kind of helpless within this cycle, you need somebody to help coach you through it, because probably a lot of perspective changes need to happen, right? You are capable. You can do this. You can get out of the cycle. We're examples, and anybody who's been in the inner circle for even a couple of months is another example, right? Yeah. And so our heart goes to you for one. Yeah. We hope that you get to hear this and hopefully find help from it.
There is a way. The good news, there is a way. So we really hope that hopefully you'll join the fam.
It starts with changing one habit at a time.
Yep.
So if I can give you that, you know, it starts with, I don't want to leave you high and dry and just be like, oh, you need to sign up for this program. You do. But if you really want some instruction or direction, the first thing that I would say is, what is the one thing that you do that has the biggest impact on you negatively, that is not helping you get to your goals? One thing. I'm not talking about the whole cycle. The whole cycle is the whole cycle. What's one element or one piece of that cycle that is really fucking shit up, don't excuse my language, that you can change and just focus on that one thing for like a month?
That you can be confident in changing right now. Not 1 month from now, right now. Yep. You need, when it comes to your level of readiness, willingness, and ability, you need to be at a 10. Anything less than a 10, you're just not ready for. Yeah.
All right. Emily from Ohio. When I first started working out, I was told to do mainly carbs and protein with minimal fat and fiber for my pre and post workout meals, so the nutrition can get to my muscles faster. Are you already thinking things in your head?
Yeah.
Do you personally follow this theory? Also, on your rest days, do you lower your carb intake since you are not burning off as many calories? If so, do you know how much to cut back on? Thank you so much. This is going to be a really not sexy answer, but if you take it and you apply it,
I love it. I love this. It sounds like you're doing macros, probably something of that sort. And you know, you definitely live a very active lifestyle. All of these theories are true. Okay, they're all true. However, we do not follow this concept, because here's the thing, right? If I'm active all week long and I have one rest day and I eat those 30 extra grams because I'm still eating my oatmeal, do you think my body, like, gains weight from those 30 extra grams of great carbs, or do you think that it's my consistency overall throughout a span of months and years that really makes a bigger impact, right? We don't like this because it overcomplicates things. And really and truly, when you eat like healthy oatmeal for breakfast, your body doesn't care if it's getting 30 extra grams, right? Like eating carbs doesn't make you gain weight. Eating carbs like an asshole makes you, right?
I love that. Now, the other question I have is, are you performing competitively?
Right.
Because then some of these things might matter. Because if you're competing and the competition is tough, then these little things will matter. But if you're not at a competitive level with whatever fitness you're doing, if you have to ask yourself, what is my goal? If the goal is longevity, if the goal is strength, if the goal is to build muscle, if the goal is to be leaner, to lose body fat, that's all we're going to answer very differently than if this is an Olympic athlete.
Yeah.
If this is an Olympic athlete, somebody, and we've said this before, if somebody's getting paid to do a sport, or somebody needs to weigh a certain amount for the sport that they do, like MMA or wrestling.
If
or
somebody's
whatever,
paycheck is reliant on them, winning a match or a competition or losing it, then this is crucial because that's just pure science, right? But like we have to think about when it comes to our life, right? We have to think scientifically speaking, right? What are the theories involved, but also behaviorally, what's going to make us sane, right? So to be honest with you, on my rest day, I eat my carbs. I don't change anything because changing something already like takes away from the momentum, right? So if I can be consistent with the same thing and just go on cruise control, then I will do that because I know myself and I know that this will help me to stay on track for weeks and months to come instead of, depriving my body and limiting it, because what happens to my body when I deprive it is that it wants to sabotage, right? And, this is also the concept of knowing yourself, having self-analysis, self-awareness. For some of you guys, you're like, you know what, I would just, follow that approach. However, for me, I know that the more changes that I have with my food, right, the more overwhelm I have, the less likely I am to follow. Simple as that. That's why I eat the same breakfast literally every single day. It doesn't matter whether it's weekdays, weekends, holidays, because for me, it keeps me sane. That's it. So whoever told you this is correct, but you need to take into account the behavioral response.
Always behavioral. Mm-hmm. And we did a whole episode on sweating the small stuff. And I think it's called Sweating the Small Stuff. Don't sweat the small stuff or something like that. This is small stuff. Mm-hmm. Now, my answer to you will be very different. Like I said, if you're competitive and this is for that, or if you want to lose 50 pounds, that answer to that question is going to look very different. Mm-hmm. Because if you want to lose 50 pounds, that tells me you've got some habits that are pushing you back, not moving you forward. And we need to focus on the foundation, right? Get back to basics. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people will say all these details, for one, it makes them sound really smart. For two, it makes you feel like you need them, mm-hmm. right? We give you as much information as we can. The fact is you still need us because doing it on our own is where shit gets sticky, mm-hmm. right? Because we have all this stuff ingrained. We've got to unlearn things. Mm-hmm. But we can give you everything that we teach. We do. All of these philosophies that we talk about on Espresso are things that we teach the inner circle. Mm-hmm. But because they're there with us in person, it just goes a lot more in depth, and there's a lot more accountability, and there's a lot more personalization specific to each individual. Yeah. But, don't sweat the small stuff, I say.
Right. Have self-awareness, and also always get back to your goal. Yep. Right? What is your goal?
We'll do one more?
Yeah.
Okay. This is from June Ellen in Texas. Can you talk about calorie burn? Cardio, such as intervals versus weightlifting, both feel like the same amount of exertion, but the weightlifting burns about half the calories. Okay, my guess is that we're getting this information from some kind of digital device.
Yep. And that is true. When you are lifting weights, right? Unless you do it like in a basically cardio with weights, like what we do in the Raw Exclusive, then you are burning less calories. But here's the thing, right? Muscle is the most metabolic organ, right? So when you're lifting weights,
can I back up?
Yeah.
You're burning less calories during the workout.
Right now.
During the workout.
Right now. So when you go to lift weights, it's like you are investing in an increased calorie burning for the rest of your life. Right?
Lifting weights is an investment.
Right, yes, it's an investment. You don't get that same instant gratification of I burnt as many calories, but over time, right, within months, within years, your resting metabolic rate is going to be increased. Okay, not by much, but remember, it's all about trends. It's not about what happens today, right? One day is not going to change your life. Like over time, that's what will. So something that we do in our training is we make sure to mix strength with cardio together. So you get that like instant gratification, but you're also investing in your future, right? You need to have both, right? For body composition and longevity purposes.
Okay, I just did a Google search because I just wanted to know what it would come up with, but I said, how many calories do muscles burn at rest? I will tell you 100% fat don't burn shit.
No.
Okay?
That is stored energy.
Fat is stored energy. It does nothing for you. Unless it's essential fat and it protects your organs and things like that.
Right.
There's a certain
fat
amount
is
of,
necessary.
There's a certain amount of fat that's essential.
Right.
Okay. So when somebody says you don't have any fat, that's impossible. You would be dead.
Right.
Okay. So, fat, according, and this is just going to be a very generalized, each person's going to be different, but I just wanted to see what they came up with. 10 pounds of muscle would burn 50 calories in a day spent at rest, while 10 pounds of fat would burn 20 calories.
Yeah.
Okay, so that, I really just want to know, how many calories does 1 pound of muscle burn? 30 to 50 calories a day. Okay, so if you imagine that you weigh, my phone is right there, let's just say 100 pounds. Nobody weighs, if you're 13. If you weigh 100 pounds and you have 16% body fat is athletic, very athletic, right? 18 is really good. 20 is like average fit.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means that between 16 to 20 pounds of your body is fat. Then you have your bones, you have your blood, you have your organs, you have all of those weigh something, right? And then you have muscle. Okay, so let's say you have, 40 pounds of muscle, okay? And 40 times 50 is what?
2,000.
2,000 calories you're burning by doing not a goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Because you have that amount of muscle. So when we say weightlifting, to build muscle, you are making an investment in the amount of energy your body will burn over a long period of time.
With time, over a long period of time.
Yes. So you have to be consistent at it. But I will tell you, if Sarit and I laid our asses on the couch and maybe got up to go to the bathroom a couple times, we probably would still burn like 1,500 calories.
Yeah.
Right? So now you talk about, okay, getting up, moving around. Now we talk about doing a workout. Now we talk about doing the dishes. Now we talk about making dinner. All this is movement, and this is extra calories burned. right? Extra energy expended. Okay, so when people are like, oh, yeah, 1,800 calorie diet, or if they're having you eat 1,000 calories, your body's already burning 1,000 calories without doing anything. So
yeah, that's why when I hear people who take pride in how much cardio they do and like they count calories, I'm like, this is a mindset that's putting you at debt. You're literally like going to debt when it comes to your metabolism. Just like financially, like unless it's for a purpose of buying real estate, like normally you don't want to go into debt, right? Like when we talk about consumer debt, right? But like focusing only on cardio when it comes to your training is you basically getting yourself into debt. When you do weightlifting, you're now working on an investment. Okay, it's a long-term plan, it's a long-term strategy that's going to yield more benefit overall. So my advice for everybody is this, right? Because you want to move the needle forward right now, but you want to invest for the future, always. That's just a state of mind, okay? You want to make sure that your training, okay, mixes, okay, a higher heart rate with some form of strength and, you know, hypertrophy, which is basically muscle building. This is exactly what we do in the burn zone workouts. This is exactly what we do in the raw exclusive training, right? There's a lot of science and thought that's being put into each and every one of these programs. And that's why, you know, when we see you guys like making beautiful posts on the page, you guys are getting amazing results because it's not just like, you know, burning calories. It's like you making an investment while you're burning calories. So there's like a short-term gain and there's a long-term gain as well. But that's why you have to keep up with it. And that's why you can't just do like a 14-day like training plan and stop. Because when you make an investment, you don't just make an investment, okay, here's $100, like how is it going to grow, right? You want to make sure that it reproduces. And that's why we're like, okay, we're going to give you burn zone 1, burn zone 2, and we're going to keep you taking you up the ladder because you got to keep on making these investments. And within 10 years, whoa, you have like, you know, 20 extra pounds of muscle, and every day you're still like you're being a metabolic animal, so like you're just getting shredded and you're building more muscle to maintain that shred for the future. Aside from the fact that after the age of 35, whether you like it or not, we start losing muscle on an annual basis. So this is like a double whammy for the future, because the more muscle you have going into these years, guess what? The higher your resting metabolic rate will be, which means you're going to stay more defined and you're going to be less overweight. That's why women who, you know, are in their 50s or 60s, if they haven't been lifting and doing that kind of training for a long period of time, have a lot more body fat, because now they start losing more muscle and their metabolic rate every single year goes lower and lower and lower. And even if their diet stays the same, they now start storing. So there's a lot that goes into it, okay? Think about it just like, you know, debt and investments. What?
And muscle needs to be fed.
Yeah.
And we think calorie deficit. You're having a harder time building muscle because you're at a deficit. And when you don't lift, let's also mention the fact that when you get older and our bone density decreases, we get weaker. You want to get older and break? Because a lot of people think weight loss, they're like, I'm going to go run because it burns the most amount of calories. Yes, in the moment. But let's talk about this concept in our industry that's called EPOC. It's excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. When you're having to consume more oxygen, you're burning more calories. That's why running burns a lot of calories, right? Fat is also exhaled, right? And so when you lift a lot, your post-exercise oxygen consumption in excess is still occurring, right? Because you're trying to recover from what you did. Once you stop running, maybe for 20 minutes or so afterwards, as your heart rate's still coming down, you stop sweating and your heart rate gets back to resting and all of that, you're burning a little bit higher rate of calories. But after you lift, you continue burning at a higher rate of calories for hours after, hours and hours after. So Is one really more than the other, or does one just take a little bit longer to get to the same number? They're both good.
Again,
you need both.
It's a mindset thing. Yeah.
And
that's why we tell you guys, the calories really don't fucking matter. It's the intention, and it's understanding the principles and being and having an intention that's in alignment. Anything that's like instant gratification, it's a shitty behavior. Now, we're not saying that running is bad, because it's not. Running is beautiful, but what is your intention? If you're an avid runner because you're trying to lose weight, no, like that is a very inefficient way of training, because you're gonna plateau sooner rather than later, just by focusing on a caloric deficit.
I'm investing in myself for the long term.
I love it.
Yep. But the other thing is, it's never too late to start. Like, better late than never.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, amazing. Okay, if you guys have questions for next week, in the announcements on the Facebook group page, there is a link you can click on to ask your questions. Keep them coming, or else we ain't got nothing to answer. So, anything else to say?
This is day 9 of the In Motion Challenge. So speaking of which, it's time to get moving. We hope that you guys have an amazing day. Speaking of investments, tomorrow it's our money conversation. Just like training in a sustainable way, like money is literally the same game. The principles are in so much alignment. You guys, if you like learn at least one thing from today's conversation, and you're like, you know what, like, I know Amanda, who like struggles with binge eating every single night, or I know Terry, who like runs 20 miles a day because she thinks that it's going to get her closer to her goals, or I know Tiffany, who is just like obsessed with macros. Meantime, she's so inconsistent. Then do us a favor and share the love, spread the love. Good things are meant to be shared. This is why we show up for you guys each and every day, okay? Because this is not about us, this is about you, and this is about everybody else. This is about the mission. Remember that our mission is to transform the lives of millions through the same movement, nutrition, lifestyle, and financial habits that have transformed ours, okay? So if you guys can please, be our disciples and help to spread the word, you're doing like such a good thing for the universe, right? We ourselves alone can only do so much, right? We need your help. We appreciate your help. If you gained at least one golden nugget from today's conversation, then just share it so it can be shared even more and more, and people can just learn the truth, because that's what we're here for. So we hope that you enjoyed today's conversation, and on that note, we will see you guys tomorrow at 6:30.
Bye.
Bye, guys.